The U.S. Department of Justice charging Nikola founder and former CEO Trevor Milton with fraud. That press conference ended just a moment ago, and Phil LeBeau has all the details. Phil, the list of false and misleading statements in that indictment were
right.
Really something.
I've got about 29 pages here worth of examples, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, where Trevor Milton was lying about the development of vehicles at Nikola.
Hey, I'm Stephen, and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So I woke up this morning, rolled over to one side, gave your sister a kiss on the cheek, rolled over to the other side, gave your girlfriend a kiss on the cheek, then reached for my phone, opened up my social media accounts, and discovered that my DMs and notifications were blowing the hell up like never before. You guys can probably see where this is going. Trevor Meltdown Milton has been charged with securities fraud. Oh my goodness me, I am so incredibly shocked. So, great start to the morning so far and what's shaping up to be a perfect day. In this video, we'll be looking in more detail around some of the fraud charges Trevor Meltdown Milton is facing and discussing in a nutshell exactly how f***ed this narcissistic, sociopathic, intellectually challenged conman, allegedly do your own research, actually is. So with that said, let's get into the video. If you love crypto, stocks, and free stuff, or just want to help out the channel, check out these great offers. BlockFi are launching the world's first Bitcoin rewards credit card. People in the US can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase with no annual fee using the BlockFi Bitcoin rewards credit card. Check out the link in the description. And for a limited time, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description. And if you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $300 just for opening an account. And if you make an initial deposit of $5 or more, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $2,000. Seriously. Free stocks? Yes, please. And finally, if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also linked in the description. Thanks so much for your support, guys. Let's get back to it. Oh, and before we get too far into today's video, I just want to make it very clear that everything I say is my opinion only. I may be hallucinating. I may be high. In fact, all of these things may simultaneously be true. Therefore, please do your own research, blah, fucking blah, blah, blah. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let me set the scene for you guys. So I began covering this obvious joke of a company over 1 year ago, doing my best to warn potential investors that it smelled really, really bad. Some examples of videos I posted: Nikola, I'm concerned. A warning, something isn't right. Posted 1 year ago. I could keep going on and on and on. I posted 24, 25 plus videos on this company over that span of time. To be honest, I didn't really want to be posting videos about Nikola. I was busy telling people that I thought Tesla was an amazing opportunity, but I couldn't help myself. I was doing my absolute best to scream from the rooftops that this looked like an absolute scam and a fraud from day one. A few months later, Hindenburg Research released a scathing report absolutely eviscerating the company with lots of allegations, including allegations that Trevor Milton had been misleading, deceiving, and lying to investors, and now he's been charged with doing exactly that. So this shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody that's been watching the channel for more than a few weeks. I've been covering this in detail for well over a year. As we can see, the videos just go on and on and on. In fact, I've just checked and I've actually posted over 30 videos on this steaming pile of vaporware known as Nikola. So if you guys are curious, I'll put a card in the corner to my Nikola playlist where every single one of those videos are included. Most of them are publicly available. A few were members only. I wanted to give a little bit of extra value to the channel members. So check out the card in the corner if you'd like to watch your way through that and see all the obvious red flags over the last year. And I implore everyone watching, please go through those archive videos, watch as many as you possibly can, and learn how to identify obvious red flags in these types of companies so you don't get burned in the future. Hey guys, come in a little bit closer. I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a secret. I've never told anybody this before, at least not publicly on the YouTube channel, but it's very important. I'm actually not an idiot. And so when I posted my original videos about Nikola Motor Corporation, I was already engaged in a game of 4D chess, covering my ass. I made very sure to not say a single thing that could potentially lead to an army of lawyers banging down my door. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I knew from day one exactly what was going on here. It was extremely, extremely obvious. I could smell something off from day one in Trevor Milton. I immediately began sniffing around and realizing nothing the guy said added up whatsoever. I also began to realize that this company seemed to be operating like a cult. Somebody tweeted one of my videos at Trevor Milton. He immediately responded claiming that I was a bottom feeder, then blocked me on his personal account and also had the Nikola Motor Corporation Twitter account block me. This is cult-like behavior. Any dissenting opinion, burn them at the stake, get rid of them. Any questions, anyone contradicting statements, no, just immediately block them. That's a really great sign that you are currently operating a cult. Curious about this behavior, I did a little bit of homework and discovered that, believe it or not, Trevor Milton was actually a door-to-door salesman for a religious cult for a period of around 2 years in his youth. I thought to myself, wow, the guy's obviously got a lot of experience selling bullshit to people. This may not end well. And that brings us to the wonderful news that broke this morning. Trevor Milton has officially dropped the soap and is about to experience the long arm of the law.
The U.S. Department of Justice charging Nikola founder and former CEO Trevor Milton with fraud. That press conference ended just a moment ago, and Philabo has all the details. Phil, the list of false and misleading statements in that indictment were really something.
I've got about 29 pages here worth of examples, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, where Trevor Milton was lying about the development of vehicles at Nikola.
So I'm not sure if you guys caught that, but the anchor there on CNBS literally couldn't contain her laughter at just how bad this is. And then Phil LeBeau, 29 pages worth of examples of Trevor lying, misleading investors, and basically being full of shit.
We're not going to go through all of them, but essentially it comes down to this. According to the Department of Justice, Trevor Milton, since basically 2018, 2019, right around that time period, as they were going through the process of putting a SPAC merger together, all the way through when he left the company, they say he repeatedly lied about the development of vehicles like that one behind him, which was the Nikola 1 hydrogen fuel cell semi. The charges revolve around 3 product areas, one being the Nikola 1, which is the semi-truck that they had on stage there, and they said was a functioning vehicle. It was not functioning. Also, there was the Badger electric pickup truck, which, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, they didn't even have renderings of it, and Trevor Milton was on social media saying, yeah, the prototypes are built. And then finally, there's the question of hydrogen supply. They say that Trevor Milton lied about whether or not Nikola had hydrogen supply ready to go. In the indictment, the DOJ says during the course of the fraud, Milton, who aspired to be listed among Forbes' 100 richest people, saw the market value of his interest in Nikola rise substantially. In fact, at one point, it was valued at more than $3 billion in terms of his stake in the company. So for Trevor Milton and for Nikola, this is perhaps the last chapter of his time at the company. By the way, we reached out to Nikola. Nikola issued a statement emphatically saying, look, these charges are with Trevor Milton. They are not against the company. We have nothing to do with Trevor Milton anymore. As for Trevor Milton, we have CNBC has reached out to his representatives. We have not heard a statement from him. I suspect that he will be making some type of an appearance, whether it's today or in the next couple of days. But guys, this is a chapter that not a huge surprise given the allegations that were first laid out by Hindenburg Research, a short seller, which ultimately led to Milton leaving Nikola Motors last year. And now you have the U.S. Attorney's Office filing charges saying front and center, he lied repeatedly about the development of these vehicles.
Now, I just want to take a moment here to talk about the people who invested in Nikola stock. I've got to separate these into 2 categories. There's people who go into the stocks casino, they know they're not doing any research, no due diligence, it's like, yeah, I'll put it all on red, see what happens, might lose, might win, whatever, yeah, cool story, bro. I'm gambling, I'm in the stocks casino, that's awesome. That's fine, I don't care. If you want to gamble on stocks, go for your life. There's a second cohort of people who bought this stock who actually thought they were investing. They actually thought they'd done sufficient due diligence. They blindly gobbled up every last drop of Trevor Milton's information and claims about this company without fact-checking a single thing, without verifying anything, without applying an ounce of skepticism. This, my friends, is why I repeatedly referred to people investing in Nikola stock over the past year as morons, as idiots, as representative of one end of the bell curve. I wasn't doing this to hurt anyone's feelings. This is my way of slapping someone across the face and making them question why this arrogant prick on YouTube would say something so rude about me. I did my research, didn't I? Oh, maybe I didn't. Maybe I should look into that a little bit. Oh, shit, he's right. Okay, I'm selling my stock. Holy shit. Everyone has their own approach, and subtle is clearly not mine. Of course, I was coming from a good place, just trying to stop people losing incredible amounts of money by having done something incredibly dumb. And yeah, if somebody does something stupid that could cause them harm, financial or physical, I will happily point out, hey, idiot, you did something dumb. You're at risk of either losing a lot of money or hurting yourself. Just saying. This, of course, rubs many people the wrong way. Happily, I'm completely at peace with some people thinking I'm a gigantic asshole. And on that note, me being a gigantic asshole, I would just like to make something explicitly clear to every single person who invested in Nikola stock and actually thought they did the homework. You are an idiot when it comes to investing. Now, maybe you can learn from this experience. We all make mistakes, and I'm not here up on a pedestal. Oh, look at me, I'm amazing. I've made my own investing mistakes in the past too, being complete fucking moron and not doing my own homework. So, I get it. I've been there. I've done that. But the point is, you're at a junction now with your investment career. You can either learn from this, grow, and become a more intelligent investor as a result, or you discover something about yourself, which is that you just suck shit at investing and should probably just stick to buying index funds and call it a day. Just to finalize this point, I'm going to throw to my good friend Mark Ripito, who says it better than I ever could.
It is incumbent on you, yes, you, to educate yourself to a sufficient extent that you are in a position to evaluate information issued from a position of authority, including this one. You are supposed to be able to recognize silly bullshit when you hear it.
Could not agree more. This applies to every area of life, from finances to relationships to health. It is your duty to be skeptical and to be able to sniff out silly bullshit when you hear it. Every time. It's on you. Unless, of course, you're okay with believing and doing extremely dumb things repeatedly, in which case, go for your life. Believe whatever you hear. That's totally fine.
The founder of the electric truck company, Nikola, is being charged in an alleged scheme to defraud his investors.
Now, the indictment claims that Trevor Milton used his massive social media platform and TV appearances to inflate his company's stock price. NBC News investigations correspondent Tom Winter joins us now to talk a little bit more about this. So, Tom, the prosecutors called this scheme audacious, is the word that they used here. What stands out in these allegations to you?
We can use a whole lot of other adjectives, too. I mean, when you look at this, if the allegations are proven true here, this is spectacular fraud.
Absolutely spot on. Spectacular fraud is the best descriptor for this. It was so brazen. As I said earlier in this video, there was so many incredible red flags, just one after the other after the other. This wasn't, oh, that's a little bit fishy. Oh, he's pushing the truth just a little bit there. I mean, everywhere you look, BS, BS, BS. Verifiably false claims, left, right, and center, everywhere you looked. It was incredible. This is why I ended up making, 30 plus videos on this thing. Just so many things to talk about everywhere you looked. It just stank. And the thing that just astonishes me is that it's 2021 and there were people with access to the internet who could have done their own research, Twitter, YouTube, wherever, could have done their own research and their own due diligence, who either didn't or did and somehow thought this company was legit in either case. I mean, really. That being said, there is one very small cohort of people who were extremely vocally supportive of Trevor Milton and Nikola Motors from day one, who I can understand. I can explain why these people were so easily deceived. We are, of course, talking about the self-hating, basement-dwelling adult versions of TSLAQ. Allow me to put on my armchair psychologist hat for just a moment and try to teach you guys a valuable lesson about how emotions can cloud our judgment. Now, the reason that I universally refer to members of TSLAQ as self-hating, basement-dwelling adult virgins isn't just to call them names and go, ha, you don't like Tesla, you're an idiot. There's actually a little bit more going on. This comes down to psychology, my read of their mindset, what they think about the world, how they view things, their value system. It is my hallucination that every single one of the self-identified TSLAQ army members have the following personality traits and views of the world. They are all nihilistic, all extremely pessimistic, all suffer from depression, all have an inferiority complex, all didn't get enough love as children from their parents, have all suffered from varying degrees of social rejection throughout their lives, all project their own insecurities onto others, and every time they see somebody succeeding, it makes them feel bad about themselves, therefore they like to drag these people down. They all root for other people's failure rather than celebrate the success of others. They all like to blame other people and be a victim rather than be proactive and take ownership for their own lives. And they all gravitate towards darkness, like attracts like. Now, I'm not suggesting that if you had a tough childhood, suffer from depression, had unloving parents, etc., that you're going to turn into this embodiment of darkness. In fact, on the contrary, most people who have these kind of tough experiences in life learn, grow, and become a lot more as a result. Unfortunately, TSLAQ are an example of when things just don't go right. These are the same folks who universally hate on Elon Musk, try to bring the guy down, claim he's a legitimate fraud, actually think that there's accounting fraud within Tesla. I mean, this is a level of delusion. And at the same time, again, being clouded by the emotions. And I am getting to a point here, guys. These same clowns held up Trevor Milton as the Messiah, as if everything he said was the gospel, didn't question any of his claims, said that he was a better leader than Elon Musk, that he was smarter, blah, 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 blah. Astonishingly. Now, look, I'm not going to name names here, but there's some hilarious podcasts and tweets and all sort of articles and interactions from these clowns. And the reason that I'm trying to explain this to you guys is just to drive the point home that if your emotions are in charge, your reasoning faculties are out the window. You can make incredibly dumb decisions and very poor value judgments, character assessments of people. And this is how you make very poor decisions in life, not just when it comes to investing. After that long-winded rant, the point is quite simple. As an investor and in other areas of life, if your emotions are in charge, you are prone to making extremely poor judgments and even worse decisions. Leave your emotions at the door and deploy logic and reason.
This is a company that has not yet really made a product that they have sold, that they have actively put out there. Meanwhile, you've got Trevor Milton, its founder, who's a billionaire in and of himself. He didn't need the money, out there tweeting, oh, we've sold out of pre-orders, we've sold out of this or that, we're ready to go with our car. Let's take a look at a couple examples. Yeah. His truck that he featured in the Super Bowl. So there was a Super Bowl ad that featured one of their trucks saying that it was working, that it was ready to go, had to be plugged in at an unveiling that they had for investors as well as people that had pre-purchased this semi-truck. They had actually had to plug it in, so an electric car that runs on batteries, but they had to plug it in. Right. They had to run air to the truck to make sure that its suspension was running. They had to put fake tablets in where screens would be, and they just projected some generic GPS stuff. They put a chain in front of the door saying, well, we don't want people driving off of the truck. No, they didn't want people inside the truck to prove that it was fake. On top of that, prosecutors say when they put together a video of the truck, they had to actually back it up on a hill, tow it up on a hill, and then release it down the hill to show that it was driving. Wow. They took their own technology out of it because they were afraid that it would blow up if they tried it, physically explode. So this is really a fantastic set of fraud. Their Badger pickup truck, which was going to be their real big entry to the marketplace, they said that they were making it, according to the indictment, from all original parts. No, in fact, they were going out and buying Ford F-150 trucks and throwing their logo on it. I mean, this is really spectacular. Wow.
Fantastic, spectacular. Simply put, the math ain't mathin'. Something is not adding up here. Right. So, Tom, help us understand something. I mean, what is the company itself, Nikola, saying about all this, about the indictment?
Well, they're coming forward. I mean, once all this started to come to light, that there was potentially some serious fraud here. Milton resigned from the company.
Yes, Trevor Milton resigned from the company once these allegations of fraud, lying to, and misleading investors came to light. He resigned. That's what happened. Now, there's an important point to discuss here. As soon as these allegations came to light, Trevor Milton got the boot. Resigned from Nikola. But there's something to talk about here. Given the fact that it was blatantly obvious to some random guy on YouTube, say me, for months, that this company was full of shit, that their products were vaporware. I mean, they announced the Badger, and I explicitly said on my video, there's no way this is coming to market. It's literally a product designed to lure in dumb retail investors to buy the stock. I mean, literally, go watch my Nikola Badger videos. You'll see me claiming exactly that. Given the fact that this was so obvious to me, do you think it's possible that some others within the company, some of the executives still currently working for this company, happen to be aware that Trevor Milton was lying explicitly, repeatedly in the media? These same people inside the company who happen to own a bunch of Nikola stock who may benefit from the stock price going up? Is that possible? A little bit of food for thought. I'm going to tell you guys something else, crystal ball, because I tend to do that, predict things before they happen, and then it turns out that I was right. This isn't the last we're going to hear of it. This starts with Trevor Milton, but it is not where things end.
And the company's out with a statement today saying, look, we've cooperated with this investigation since we first became aware of it. And on top of that, in a statement that they've released to news organizations, they said, look, we're going to continue forward with our mission and our plan. They said that they're committed to their previously announced milestones and timelines. The stock was down, last I checked, about 8% today, but it is still publicly trading. It is still yet to have any sort of a profit, any sort of real revenue revenue to speak of. So it'll be interesting to see whether this is a company that's really viable going forward.
I have to wonder, I mean, if all this stuff proves to be true, you would think you could get away with it if nobody was paying attention. How did this all come to light to begin with?
Well, short sellers get a tough reputation, and sometimes it's deserved. But firms that short a stock, in other words, they're betting for it to fail, frequently do high-level research. And investigator to investigator, they did great research here. They got whistleblowers. They got people to come forward to say, you know what, this thing is a fraud. I work there. I know about it. I work in the industry. I know about it. It's a complete fraud. They brought this to light, and very quickly thereafter, the Justice Department, the SEC began investigating, and obviously, as I said, Milton resigned from the company. But I think the second thing here today that's really important, this is, as much as this is about Nikola, this is a shot across the bow at SPACs, special purpose acquisition companies. And what prosecutors are saying here is they don't have to play by the normal rules. This CEO could go out and talk about
SPACs
everything
don't have to play by the
normal IPO rules. So when a company normally comes to market, they have a quiet period. They can't talk. They can't make statements to us. They can't go public. They can't tweet. They can't do any of that. It gives banks, investment firms time to actually go through the books, look under the hood, no pun intended, and find out if this company is a real company. That doesn't happen with SPACs. And all indications to me is that prosecutors and the SEC are actually going to take a serious look at these companies going forward to find out if it's really just all hot air or if there's some truth to it.
In my opinion, it's only a matter of time before Nikola Motor Corporation is bankrupt, and I cannot believe today that there are still, quote, investors who own Nikola stock. What can I say? The bell curve is real. And here's another prediction for you guys and girls. Nikola certainly won't be the last company that goes public through the SPAC process, lures in enormous numbers of relatively dumb / completely deluded / overly emotional retail investors, and ultimately goes bankrupt. In fact, I think in a decade's time, the majority of companies that have gone public through a SPAC in the last 10 years will be out of business. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball, but that's my prediction. I have saved the best till last. Trevor Milton has pled not guilty to these charges. Here's a statement. I'm just going to leave this. It's the truth. This is so funny. I just can't even keep a straight face. Here's a statement from Trevor's lawyers. Trevor Milton is innocent. This is a new low in the government's efforts to criminalize lawful business conduct. Every executive in America should be horrified. Trevor Milton is an entrepreneur who had a long-term vision of helping the environment by cutting carbon emissions in the trucking industry. Mr. Milton has been wrongfully accused following a faulty and incomplete investigation in which the government ignored critical evidence and failed to interview important witnesses. From the beginning, this has been an investigation in search of a crime. Justice was not served by the government's action today, but it will be when Mr. Milton is exonerated. This is just so incredibly embarrassing to read. I mean, it sounds like an emotional infant having a tantrum, not a statement from lawyers. Now, I can probably understand here, I haven't actually checked who's representing Trevor Meltdown Milton here, but my suspicion is he was probably scraping the bottom of the barrel to find a law firm actually willing to represent him on the case. He's done and dusted, there's no question here. He is absolutely So he's probably working with like the 99-cent lawyers and this is the best they can come up with. But this is just hilarious, the language, the terminology here. It's like, this is a new low in the government's effort. Like, what? That emotive language just doesn't belong in this kind of a statement. They're trying to like guilt trip, like Trevor Milton had a vision to, like, it's just so embarrassing. It looks like it was written like a 12-year-old who's thinking about being a lawyer in the future and this is the best they can come up with. Really? It's almost like Trevor Milton drafted up that statement and gave it to the lawyers and said, you need to say exactly this. And they said, oh, well, we got to tweak it a tiny bit, but yeah, we'll keep the gist of what you said, you little baby. Just a few closing thoughts. I think if Trevor Milton has any sense whatsoever, and that's questionable, he really should take a plea deal. He's in big trouble and in deep shit. In either case, things do not look good. But I question whether or not Trevor actually has the sense. I honestly think there's a pretty good chance that he's so deluded that he believes his own lies and genuinely thinks he's not guilty of any of these charges. I really genuinely feel sorry for the investors who lost money buying Nikola stock as a result of believing some of Trevor Milton's lies. And just in closing, I'm going to teach you guys and girls an Australian expression by delivering a message directly to my good friend Trevor Milton. I hope he's watching. Hey Trevor, Sucked in, mate. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'll be covering this case closely. It is a great lesson, a great opportunity to learn, look for signs, to be a little bit suspicious, and to always remain skeptical, especially in the face of extremely audacious, questionable claims. So let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think should happen to Trevor Milton? I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card, where you can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase. There's a link in the description. You can also earn up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, also linked below. And finally, don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake, also linked in the description. These great offers also help out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.